complete 24 hours, 1 year with your gen eds, complete 24 hours in your high school career, you knock off essentially 1 year of your college education, and you've saved $37.50 in tuition. And that's just based on today's rate. Well, if you consider room and board, in addition to that 1 year, you're saving over $11,000 knocking off 1 year while you're in high school, taking college level courses and prepping yourself for that success at the college level. So we encourage students to start considering looking at CEP opportunities as early as their sophomore years, if they're academically challenged or wanting to be academically challenged. And so they have that opportunity to start building their schedule in their sophomore year to their senior year to develop those hours as they go forward. So if you're looking for the best platform for success, higher GPA, graduate on time, higher retention rates, more opportunities on campus, I recommend that you strongly and encourage you strongly to consider taking a concurrent enrollment program course or a partnership course. And I'll hand that over to Dr. Ralson.
All right, well, thank you so much. So my name is Tracy Ralson, and I'm an assistant dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, which to describe would sort of be like an assistant principal, but at the college level. But I'm also a parent of a 501 senior and who is also a current CEP student. And so I feel like I have seen this from multiple angles. So my job here tonight is to try to help answer any questions you might have about the academic side and to just try to inform you as much as I can about that. So when you take a CEP class, yes, you are taking those classes, or a student is taking with those classes with your high school teacher, but they are college level courses. The syllabi have been approved, so their course content has been approved by Washburn, so the Washburn faculty, and it means that those grades go on your college transcripts, and it has that kind of that level of rigor to it. So it's a nice way to challenge your student, but also then get that college credit. One of the things I would recommend as you're kind of pondering, not just what or whether or not to take it, but how many classes should you take on, or your student take on for CEP. And I would highly suggest that you think about not only if they're academically ready, but emotionally ready for the rigor of a college course, because our goal is not only help them get college credit, but be successful in getting that college credit, knowing that it's, it'll follow them there. And so a question that I often get, and feel free to ask me particular questions, would be, if there are particular classes that they should take in high school or whether they'll transfer. And Dr. Licky could probably answer even better than I, but Washburn does have a transfer agreement within KBOR, the Kansas Board of Regents. So all of those public institutions that you know about, so your KU, K-State, Pittsburgh, et cetera, those are within that transfer agreement. If you're looking at schools that are not part of that agreement, that doesn't mean that those courses won't transfer. In fact, we have the Washburn Transfer Guide that you could take a look and see. You can call the institution if you know what you're looking at. So there's lots of different ways that you can go and find out. And then, of course, talking to your counselors about whether one of those courses would be the best choice for your student, because they're going to know your student and some of those guides. So I'm trying to think if there were other things to think about, but I think I'll see if you have particular questions with that.
Let me go ahead and add some just high school side information. And then if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We're all kind of trying to pay attention, and then we can open up for more here once we finish. So some of this is sort of big picture stuff, and I see a lot of familiar names in this meeting. Some of you are Topeka West parents, so that's great. But just kind of a big picture, we sort of jumped in and didn't explain what concurrent enrollment was. So that is a class taken at your high school, Topeka High, Highland Park, or Topeka West, from a high school teacher that is certified through Washburn to teach the college level course. So that looks like, I think it's 18 hours of master's coursework in the content. So if we're teaching biology, then that person has 18 hours of biology coursework at the master's level. The the benefits to me, or the really good part, is it happens here. So kids get an opportunity to taste that college level work on their high school campus where it's comfortable. They know the people, usually they're with their friends in classes. That kind of eases some tension and makes that transition that Dr. Leakey was kind of talking about, retention rates, that helps people feel more comfortable as they go to the university. And then the cost factor is huge. And I'll show you here on the next slide. This is district-wide enrollment in dual credit courses for the last 6 years. And this year was one of our very best. As you can see, we had about 1,150 credit hours earned. Now we just are assuming everybody passed every class they're in this spring, which we very rarely have kids fail. So that's huge. And that's about $500,000 in savings when we talk about tuition. So just to put that in perspective, there's millions of dollars saved over time here for our students, and many, many credit hours earned. A typical student would take 2 3-hour classes per semester. Sometimes we have students take 9, and I think a year or two ago we had somebody take 12 in one semester, which is kind of unusual. But if people are capable, again, that's the part Dr. Ralson talked about. Visit with your counselor. They know you. I know Ms. Van Patten and I have both signed off on kids taking multiple because we know they're ready and they're capable, and they've been successful. So again, typical 3 hours or 6 hours in each semester, but sometimes we do more. Here's kind of the link, and I know you can't click on that. So I put, if you just Google Washburn CEP, it takes you right to their website, and their website is phenomenal. They do a great job of updating it every year. This is what you'll see if you roll down just a little, and then you can pick Highland Park, Topeka High, or Topeka West, and see what courses are available. So I did it this way because these change from year to year. We at Topeka West have always offered physics because we had a guy who could do physics. Well, he retired. So you just, with staffing changes from year to year, I didn't want to go list what every school has because that could change. So you can see an updated one for the fall, I would guess probably in July, although we have a pretty good idea now of what that'll look like. So more information there about all kinds of things, tuition, again, courses, hours, etc. So this year they've trying to work with Washburn a little bit to be consistent about registration. So I guess this is the important part about how to sign up. So every junior and senior, by the end of this week or early next week, we'll get an email from somebody in their building saying, if you're enrolled in one of these classes, which would be the courses in that building that are available for dual credit, and you want to take the class for dual credit with Washburn, complete this form. And then, there'll be a form in the email to fill out. So then we'll communicate all that information to Washburn. We'll get a final, yes, I want to take this class in August. And then we'll complete the registration part on our side. Then the communication becomes sort of between you and Washburn to pay the bill in your student portal. Am I getting this right, Dr. Leakey? Am I on the right track? Oh, he muted.
My apologies. I was reading comments and I wasn't.
Oh, no, that's okay. Just they'll indicate interest here in the spring. We'll collect all the information. We'll send it to you guys. It'll get uploaded in your system. In the fall, we'll get the final, yes, I want to take it. No, I don't want to take it. And then billing happens after that to pay tuition. So that leads me to my next little topic. Every school has a CEP scholarship available. And most of the time we're able to pay for several kids to take courses. So there's an application for that as well, just a Google form, similar to the registration form that will be sent out in the email to all sophomores and juniors. So students could complete the registration and the scholarship application form at the same time here in the next week if they wanted to do that. So just contact information about who to call or email at each school. I listed 2 people at Topeka West because Miss Van Patten's moving on to the wonderful world of retirement here soon. So she's available for a few more weeks for you guys to reach out to here. If you come up with a question after school gets out and you need something from me, my stuff is there also. And then Dr. Ralson and Kelly are phenomenal resources at Washburn. So I will make this available. I think we have a college and career planning website on our district website, and I can put all of this out there for you guys too. And then each high school has a CEP section on their counseling center website also. So there's lots of information around. And then for me, it was just the questions. So I see some questions in the chat, and I think most of them have gotten answers.
Laura, the one question is, how do I pay for the courses? They pay directly to Washburn. What's going to happen is your student is going to have a My Washburn account, and they'll go on to their My Washburn account to WooView. And in that WooView is where you will be able to pay online. You can also come up to the counter here in Morgan Hall, but they take check and cash at the counter. If you're going to pay by credit card, you go through the WooView, which is online. And then there was another question about credits, and I want to make sure that we understand what that question is about. If you're taking it with Washburn, CEP course with Washburn, you're still at the high school, and that credit counts for a college level course and your high school credit, if that's what you were asking.
JT, does that answer your, okay.
No, I was just going to add on there that the credit there, the courses that Washburn offers are general education credits. And that's an important distinction too, because they're not, when you go to transfer, when you go to school and go to college, they'll be accepted as general education classes through those KBOR schools, as well as Washburn, obviously.
Yeah, and the confusion between KBOR and Washburn, we're a municipal university. We're the only four-year public university in the state that's a municipal university. And we partner or collaborate with KBOR as part of the public universities here in the state. We're just not a KBOR school. So we partner and work together very closely.
There's one question here from Dr. Chris Bush. Do courses at Allen County count as well? So right now the district has sort of, I shouldn't say exclusive, but primarily we partner with Washburn. If students were to take other classes from junior colleges or other universities, in order to earn high school credit, that would have to be principal approved. And that doesn't happen a ton. There are some situations where that has happened and can happen, but for the most part, the partnership with Washburn is, it's a set in stone kind of thing. So that's helpful. And then Ms. Cusick, students decide at the end of the year. So they decide at the very beginning of the course. So we're talking about maybe here in the next couple of weeks, deciding for the fall semester, if you'd like to enroll in dual credit. And then I think the cutoff date is, help me, Dr. Lukey, like a week or two into the semester.
It'll be 3 weeks into your semester, 2 weeks into ours. Generally you start a week ahead of us. So generally about the third week.
That information will all be on the CEP web pages on the website for Washburn. So you can see all that information there.
Yeah, all our deadline dates, drop dates, all that refund dates are all sitting on the website.
And I should add, you bring up a good point there. Students can take, you can take college algebra on our campus with our teacher for just high school credit. So if they just want the experience, that's totally acceptable. And we have a lot of that in our AP classes and honors classes. Students don't always dual enroll. College algebra is a bad example because almost 90% of those kids will take it, because if you're going to go through it, you might as well get the credit. But certainly AP US history can be dual credit, but we see, lots of students just take that class. There's a whole list of classes out there for each school. Somebody asked which classes can they take. I don't want to answer specifically, but it's on the website, on the Washburn website.
And students, we have probably as many students taking the class for college credit as kids that are just taking the class to take the class. So don't think that your students are expected to take it for college credit if they're in the class. Another thing for parents to know is that students must have a cumulative GPA of 3.0 to be able to take it for college credit. And so that's one thing that sometimes will keep a student from taking it. Now, once they're out of high school, that's not in place, but that is an expectation of Washburn, that students have to have a cum GPA of 3.0 to be able to take it for college credit while they are in high school. Another question that I get frequently is that we've been fortunate the last few years that we've been able to offer scholarships to our students. If we do award scholarships to students, we're only able to offer one scholarship per student per semester. And so if we do that, how that works is if your child gets awarded a scholarship, what I've done in the past is they will be notified once the scholarship has been awarded. And then I would give the list of scholarship awardees to the business office. And Mary Schumacher is her name. She's awesome. I would give her a list, and then she would put that information on your student's account. And then that information will be put on their account, and so that there won't be a balance for your student. Now, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. It may show up that there's a balance, because until that balance is paid by the district, it's going to show that there's a balance. And I know I've had parents call and say, Miss Van Patten, it still shows that my child owes a balance. And I'll say, just, give us a minute here, because we have to wait for the district to pay for the balance. And so sometimes it just takes a minute, but don't be concerned if that does happen, because sometimes we just have to be patient with it. But if I've given Mary a list of who those kids are that are receiving a scholarship, you're not charged a late charge or anything, because Washburn's been great about taking care of it on their end.
There's
Just
a question about, are
Yeah,
scholarships
scholarship.
awarded based on need or academic performance?
So I want to say both and neither. We do ask the students, how would this benefit your plans after high school? What kind of need do you have? There's just a real short essay. But I mean, we've certainly paid for students whose parents make a lot of money. We've paid for students whose parents don't make much money. It just kind of depends on the situation and the moment. We really try hard to fund as many as we can. And the way that schools are funded, that's actually helped us in the last few years, because there's some title dollars, some federal dollars that schools get to help post-secondary education.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure I could answer that real specifically. We just sort of take the whole situation into consideration and generally try to do as many as we possibly can.
We try to be flexible with that, but I will remind you that if we awarded a scholarship to a student one semester, and then they would drop the class after we've awarded the scholarship, the student would not be awarded a scholarship in future semesters. In fact, we will tell students that if they are awarded a scholarship and was to drop the class, they will be expected to pay the scholarship back.
What other questions do you guys have? Any post application? So I'll put the application for both to just enroll in CEP and the scholarship application. We'll put it out here by the end of next week, and the deadline for probably pre-enrollment, let's call it pre-enrollment, I'd like to see before we leave, so June 4th. The scholarship application won't close probably until the first or second week of school in August, so there's a little bit of time there, mostly because some people will change their minds between now and then. So we're flexible on the scholarship one, but I think that indicating you want to take a course for dual credit, we'd like to know by the time we leave for summer break. So I'm going to set a June 4 deadline on that for now. And then, of course, in the fall, if you change your mind, like you say, no, we're not going to do it right now, and you get here in August and you want to do it, we'll allow that as well. And we're not going to say no. So
if your child receives a scholarship, we only scholarship one class. So that way we can scholarship as many students as possible. One of the things that Washburn will do for your student is if your student is taking more than one class. I know sometimes when you're trying to budget for classes, what coming up with that much money at the beginning of a semester is kind of tough. You can always do what I call a payment plan, and where you can pay it in make payments. And so you're able to do 3 payments, and you do a payment fee of additional $20. So you do add $20 to the amount of the total bill. So let's say your child was taking 3 classes. So whatever the total cost was, and you add an additional $20 to that and divide it by 3, and you can make 3 payments, like they'd be like October, November, December, which makes it really nice. And it'll tell you when the payments are due. You'll see that information out there on the CEP website. So that makes it more doable, at least especially when you're trying to budget for it, instead of having to come up with the whole amount in the fall. Plus, the other thing to think about as you move forward through the summer is going, hey, my child's going to take a couple concurrent credit classes. We probably need to budget some money for that. instead of coming to fall and going, oh my gosh, we got this great big bill. So something to think about.
I just answered a question about email. So we'll push that email out to kids and to parents with all of this kind of information summarized for you. And then Dr. Bush asked again about summer classes. Can they count? Let's visit about that more if you could.
We won't have concurrent enrollment in the summer.
Yeah, I
They
think
can
he's
take
saying
summer.
if they take classes
Oh.
on your campus in the summertime, would we count them for high school credit? So I think your kid's a Topeka West kid. Let's just follow up about that maybe tomorrow. I'll send you an email and let's talk about what you're thinking, because I think we could maybe work that out.
And then to Jackie's point on the payment, this is again where the student sets up their account in My Washburn, and through their WooView, parents, they can put you on as a proctor so that you can go directly in there and see the billing and make the payment. And you can set that all up in WooView on their My Washburn.
Yeah. There is a paper that you can have your child sign to give you permission to look at all that information. And I've had students sign those in the past, and I can turn those in. And so that you have access to your child's information. And so lots of times, because they're adults, Washburn can't share information. But if you have them sign the paper, there's what do they call that?
It's called a FERPA form, and it's Federal Educational Rights Privacy Act.
Yep. And if your child will sign that paper, then you're able to access their information and help take care of that. And I find it helpful because parents are trying to figure it out, and they're still high school students, and it just makes things easier. And so it's not like you're trying to, get into their business, but when it comes to the financial piece, it's really helpful, I think, while they're in high school trying to navigate that, and it's helpful with parents too. So the last few years, I found it very helpful for a lot of my parents to have that paperwork signed with their kids.
Dr. Ralson, do you want to answer the question on additional testing requirements?
She just says, is any additional testing required or the credit's the same? So.
Oh, okay. I misread that again. I'm sorry.
But the answer is yes, if it's especially with math.
Yeah.
So if it's math-based, there are ACT requirements, or you can go onto Washburn's website and they have a placement exam that you can take. So be careful with I'll say is be careful when you take the placement exam, because how we at Washburn's campus does that is that you can sign up for a 2-week free trial. So make sure your student takes that exam during those free 2 weeks so that you're not then charged for that AccuPlacer test. But otherwise, the ACT has different cutoffs depending on which class you're wanting to take. I was just trying to remember. I know 28 is calculus, but I think it's
22.
21,
22 for math.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would add, I know, Cammie, your boys go here. We are going to test all of our kids who are ready to take college algebra in the fall. They'll take the test here before they leave for spring if they don't have the ACT score already. So Ms. Swati and I have set that up. So they'll get a chance. If they don't have the ACT score, the 22, then they can take that other quiz that kind of gets them in before school even starts. So
right. The only other exceptions to the placement rule would be foreign language, and that is you should have 2 years of high school language before you make any attempt at CEP language.
And then there's a question on when to set up the students My Washburn. So we will get a list from the high school. We'll put the student into our banner system or our system, enroll them in their classes. And once they're enrolled, they will receive an email to set up their My Washburn account. And they'll have a passcode and everything to get in there. They'll have to set up, reset, I guess, the passcode so that it is their account.
And then that form you guys were just talking about, the permission, the FERPA waiver form, can that be accessed through the WU account, or does that need to be requested from one of your guys?
We could actually, if Laura, I think you put the parent's email address, we could actually send that to every parent.
Okay.
In addition, we'll send you the steps to how your students should get into My Washburn. I'll make sure that happens as well.
Isn't that form on the website?
I believe it is.
I think it is.
I just make it convenient as we communicate with the student, we'll communicate with the parents. Parents, it's also important that we will be sending you an email to confirm the registration of those courses. So we will get this list from 501. We put them in the system. We run the rosters and then send those back out to the high schools to confirm. And once they're confirmed, we send a email of confirmation to the parent as well, letting us know that they are confirming that they want their student in CEP. And it's important to respond to that email.
Such good questions, things I didn't even think about adding to the presentation, but I will now.
Yeah. I don't know if somebody wants to tackle this. I can tackle it, but I'll probably murder it a bit. But what I generally hear this when I go out to the high schools and do the presentation, what's the difference between an AP course and a CEP course?
So how I answer that question is the AP class, a lot of times they're the same class, just you have the opportunity. The AP is an exam you take at the end of the year. It costs around $100 to do. And to earn college credit, then you have to score a certain score. In KBOR, it'd be a 3, 4, or a 5. So with AP, you're not guaranteed college credit. You just have the attempt at college credit. With the CEP, it's going on your college transcript. The grade you earn for that class is the grade that is, then moving on. So it is, I guess I shouldn't use the word guarantee, but it's college credit versus the attempt of college credit.
Very good. When should we expect to see a confirmation? It just depends on how, the sooner you can let your counselor know that you are wanting to do CEP courses and we can get that information, the easier it is for us to get that information out to you. So if we know by June and we're downloading into June with a few changes come August, we can let you know in June as soon as we start registering students. You do not, I guess what I want to emphasize here is you do not, if you've made the decision that you want to be in a CEP course next fall, you do not have to wait till August when you get to school to make that decision. You can let your counselor know, and then we can get that put in over the summer and get this all set up before you even get started in school next year.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I think we'll close out. I just want to say thanks again to Dr. Lidke and Dr. Ralson for coming and talking with us. If we can do anything to help you guys, just reach out.
Well, we truly enjoy the partnership in 501 and look forward to seeing more students next year. And parents and students, please, please, please take advantage of what you have. There's a hand. I don't know if that means.
Dr. Ford's got a question.
Yeah, Dr. Ford, yes.
If I can figure out how to do this. Can you hear me?
Yes, good to hear from you, Dr. Ford.
Well, and I'm going to just put a little advertising. I have a grandson that's going to take advantage of this next semester or in the fall. But I want to tell you a little story about my own 2 children. Lyle Ford, who actually worked for Washburn forever and now is part of the public television station. Both him and his sister Megan, they both went to Washburn, and they were able to join Washburn as sophomores. From Garden City Community College, they were able to take enough that they were sophomores by the time they went to Washburn. They went for 3 years to Washburn, which saved us a ton of money. So I think we need to advertise more about this program, because really you're spreading college out over 5 years versus or 6 years versus that. So just encourage it. I mean, I think Topeka is doing a good job with this, but I think we could do more. Honestly, a look at those courses that could be taught by qualified teachers at Topeka Public Schools. And truthfully, it saves people, especially, tons of money. And plus, it's Washburn's such a good school anyway that, like I said, all 3 of my children went there. So, but my 2 oldest, they were sophomores by the time they attended, saved us a year of college.
Love those stories. We're
Yeah,
trying
no,
really hard. I was actually bending Dr. Bierman's ear last week about how do we expand? We have lots of classes that are rigorous over here. How do we get more of them
I
approved?
agree.
So-
And you got Topeka and all of the Topeka schools, they have excellent teachers that could do this. We just make it be known. And it's getting that articulation between the courses in the college that it is the big thing. Cause I mean, like I think it saved us $10,000 truthfully.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was back in
Dr.
the 90s and early 2000s. I can't imagine what it would save parents now if they just get their kids in this early. So, and we will have a grandson there next year doing some. So, and I have to say, guys, great job on Chase. He's just having such a good experience. He's
I
such
love
a good
him.
kid.
I talk to him every day in the lunchroom. He's such a nice.
He's a great kid, isn't he? So,
Yeah.
but
Yes, he
honestly,
is.
but it is one of those things where we just, anything we can do to help advertise this more and make that connection better. It is a future about getting, and I know Lawrence for a long time didn't have any connections for kids at KU. And like, it was one of those things from Garden City Community College for a long time. We've had great articulation and it did save us tons of money. So just want to say thanks for all you guys do, both at Washburn and at Topeka Public Schools and especially Topeka West. Love you guys.
Thanks, Dr.
Thanks,
Ford.
Dr. Ford. And there's somebody in the chat that also said that their son
Yeah.
is taking aerospace engineering, a 5 to 7 year program, and it's taken him 4.5 years with CEP credit.
We talked about getting a kid for an updated brochure, Dr. Lidke, and Chris would be a really good one if you don't have somebody already. A very well spoken young man, very intelligent, and obviously Dad's pretty involved. He's around usually too, so I
Okay.
can get you his contact information.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, we'll close this out. Thanks again, everybody.
Yep. Thank you.